I feel like content creation's been more disingenuous than ever. We're going down this rabbit hole of people just living on the internet. Their entire life exists on the internet. Your ego is the most important thing, because if that gets called out and somebody squashes your ego on the internet, you're done. Right? No. It's okay to be wrong sometimes, but when you exist on the internet and people don't like you, you get situations and scenarios like the stuff that we're about to talk about today. We're going to talk about Wings of Redemption, Pirate Software, and DSP in this one. So if y'all enjoy it, like, subscribe, comment, and yeah, let's get into it. So I feel like everybody is dogging on Pirate Software right now. And for good reason. He's speedrunning to lolcow status. Like, the things that he's doing and the way that he defends the actions that he's been doing recently remind me of someone like DSP, or even, you know, Wings, the people that I typically watch or cover. Not that I watch Wings a whole lot. I've been kind of out of the loop on him, but I do know quite a bit of Wings lore, and I keep up with the big stuff. So recently, Pirate Software was showing something, probably on his Discord, and he pulled up this screen. And it's between him and one of his mods, and it goes like this. Let me know if you do. Bits is going to be the best way to do it due to the return if you need to save it. So he's talking about saving the hype train, I assume, for Twitch. You know, Twitch, if you get people to donate bits and support and stuff like that on Twitch, it starts a little hype train, and it's to encourage people to keep sending money to keep the hype train going. So Kronos says bits rather than tier 3s, as in tier 3 subs. Tier 3s might be better, don't know. Bits is 82% return when you buy them in bulk. Have you bought any yet? Kronos says, I've done 100 tier 1s on my personal, ready to do 40 tier 3s on my alt, can do bits instead or both. He also says, did 50k bits at 20 seconds left. Pirate Software says, okay, what is the alt account? Kronos says, serendipitous bean. Where's the beef? With an emoji. And then says, didn't mention this to the mods either. Now the challenge is to clear the queue. So in theory, there's nothing wrong. I don't think this is against anything to tell somebody who's already going to send you this money how you want it sent. It just doesn't look good. Now, sometimes DSP will mention a regular that typically supports if they're not there. And like, oh, I wish we had this person here tonight. They really like the game. But this guy just leaked DMs saying, hey, this is how I want you to send me money. This is the best way to do it. This will keep the hype train going. This will get other people to donate. It's just like lolcow behavior. And it's also sad that this guy here is sending you money how you want. Like, this guy's such a mega fan of you, your mod or whoever it is, that he's like, how do you want me to send you all this money? What's the best way to do it so you get the most in-pocket money and it doesn't get taken from Twitch? Especially if you're one of those people in this guy's audience, it takes all the organic feel out of it. Like, you know, there's somebody there now who's keeping these hype trains going. It's not just fans who are coming in and throwing this guy money and everyone's like, oh, let me hop on. He's got people in his chat that are mods on alternate accounts sending him money to make it appear as though these are just regular people in his chat sending money. To me, that's something a lolcow does. So I'm going to cover it. Now, this was obviously exposed, and he addressed it. Let's see how he addressed it.
Like, that's been a public thing forever. I think I even talked about it on there. That's against TOS, though? No, it is not against TOS. It is absolutely not against TOS to have somebody use their own money to buy subs and bits for the channel if they want to. That in no way was triggered by me, nor was he compensated for that or reimbursed for it. That is not against TOS. So it's a shit joke at this point.
These whales can spend their money on whoever they want. It's their money. Under alt accounts, it's not just this mod who's coming in and donating because he's a good fan. He's got alt accounts going. To me, it's an attempt to mislead people into thinking you've got all these other random people who are donating to this hype train who are supporting the stream, when it's really just one guy. And the streamer knows about it and encourages it. It's not like, hey, you don't have to send me anything. Like, I really appreciate it. Or you don't have to use an alt account. You can just use your mod account. Like, it's all good. But this guy right here doesn't say anything about don't use an alt account. You don't have to do all that. You're the streamer, and you're encouraging this unorganic style of tipping or supporting. But that's the thing with these streamers. It's less about just the love of what they're doing and more about how they can maximize profits, how they can pull in money, how they can do this for a living and not have to do anything else, right? Like, look at the goals right here. He's got bit goals. He's got the queue that guy was talking about in the DMs. Let's clear the queue. I mean, it's like if this guy owned a car dealership, that Discord mod was his car salesman trying to maximize profits for him, but he came in and pretended to be a regular customer along with these other people and like pretended to negotiate. And it's like, you guys always give me the best prices here. It's awesome. You know, he's trying to blend in with somebody he's not, but knows that he actually works for this guy and he's trying to maximize the profits this guy gets because this guy's calling all the shots. I know it's not a perfect analogy. I never said I was good with analogies, but it's just the example that came up top of my head while I was talking about this. So, you know, your ego is too big. It's too inflated to just be like, you're right. It's not a good look. You guys are totally right. And then just say you're going to knock it off, you know, be like, you are correct. It doesn't make the streams feel natural when you have these people lying in wait to keep your bits goals going so that you don't lose them. And then more people encouraged to donate. Like, that's lolcow behavior, in my opinion.
Just because you heard it on YouTube doesn't mean it is. Yeah. In fact, I guarantee that you could go to thousands and thousands of communities across this entire platform and find lots of different moderators supporting the stream. Do you know why? Because
But that doesn't make it right. Just because other people are having their mods pretend to be random viewers and sending me money to keep the bit train going, so it's okay for them to do it. So let's just make the entire platform just one big sham. Like, it's just one big sham of people we know keeping these goals going. It's not an actual audience of people that are donating towards it. I'm probably overthinking this, but at the same time, we're also just watching a guy who continues to dig himself into these holes because he can't ever be wrong. And sometimes you're wrong. I've been wrong in my videos. I've addressed it in comments on my past videos. When somebody said something they didn't agree with, I talked about it. It is what it is. Nobody's right 100% of the time, except for maybe this guy.
Moderators are generally the first fans of the stream. That is how that works in every community on this platform. And people somehow don't understand that because you're blinded by your dislike of me.
So because moderators are fans, or your first fans on the stream, we got to pull them into a Discord, tell them how we want our money, what alt account they're under, when to do it, how to send them the money. That's not a fan, dude. That's like somebody that works for you. And listen, he says he doesn't pay him anything. He gets no money out of it. Whatever. I'll believe him. Guys, it's probably just there. He wants to send him money. How do you want it sent? And instead of just being support how you want to support, it's send me bits because I think I get the most return on them. Again, lolcow behavior. I swear, these guys, they purposely make themselves unlikable just because they need to feel right. Like, sometimes you got to say something that you might not agree with to appease the people that do watch. But in this case, your inflated self-importance ego that I talk about with all these guys, it's more important than everything else. And we always need to feel right because that's the persona that we've created on the internet for ourselves. This guy, I used to see videos on him years ago. They were like YouTube shorts. And yeah, there were like videos where he's like, when I worked at Blizzard. But at the same time, everything you would ever hear this guy say, he felt like he had the confidence time 1,000. Like, he was always right. And then you go and you watch somebody do a breakdown of his video and you're like, huh, I had a feeling. You know what I'm saying? Like, they would debunk something that he said, or he would just be wrong. The thing I think about his game, Heartbound, how you can't pirate it and then somebody pirates it. It's like, dude, sometimes you're just wrong. Damn it, how does this clip keep sneaking in here? Y'all already knew I was going to bring this up. The empty game cases. I can't believe this was said yesterday. The mental gymnastics here was crazy. So let's just kind of listen to what the question was here before we address it.
Wow, what a name. Someone named Reluctant Hand Job did a $5 super chat. What a name. And they said, I am just learning of you from documentaries. So many questions. Please explain empty game boxes as prizes. Yes, I never sent empty game boxes as prizes. It never happened, okay? That's a meme that was made up by my detractors over a decade ago, and for some reason it stuck, even though yes, I never sent empty game boxes as prizes. It never happened, okay?
Before he gets into it, let's find the context of this. Let's see what he's referring to. Let's take a look.
At one point, I used to be nice and be like, oh, I'll give away collectibles. Like, for example, I would buy the collector's edition of a game, and I would have all the art, book stuff, the soundtrack, all the stuff, and I would sign it and send it, and people started making fun of me. Oh, see, Phil gives away empty boxes. And I'm like, you know, it's funny that idiots say nasty stuff like that, because I've given away...
He's giving away consoles, whatever. Notice how he didn't mention that he didn't send the game, but then brought up that idiots said that he didn't send the game. but then brought up that idiot said that he sent an empty game box. He couldn't even straight up address it here. He knows that he sent a game box with a soundtrack and a manual in it without a game. Like, why wouldn't you just send the game with it? That's what the problem is here, Phil. You could have just sent the game with it, but you wanted to get the $20 for the game from GameStop to recoup some of your losses. Because GameStop didn't really penalize you, and I don't think they gave you any extra credit back in the day for trading in collector's edition of something. Typically, it would just be whatever the value of the game is. But if you're doing a game giveaway, why are you not sending the game? That's the whole point of it. Yeah, the collector's edition is cool too, but you would typically include the game because that's part of the product. And you took the most valuable thing of that product out of there. But notice how we got to go right into a cope. How idiot said that I sent empty game boxes and then bring up all these things that you did do. Because you did other giveaways where you gave away this, that, it subtracts from the fact that you gave away empty game boxes. Why didn't you just include the game, Phil? You bought the game anyway. You were making good money, but you needed to trade it in for the money, I assume. Anyway, let's look a little further back because this was from 2 years ago. Shout out to DSP tries at Memology 101 for that clip. This was uploaded from someone named Angel K311 11 years ago. I think this was 2013.
All right, what is up, everybody? Darksydephil here, and welcome to the Hardcore Gaming Season giveaway of 2013. All right, the very first item I'm giving away is Deus Ex Human Revolution's Collector's Edition content. So let me show you what exactly that is. Okay, this is Deus Ex Human Revolution Collector's Edition. Comes with this very nifty collector's box on the inside. Comes with a few things. First of all, collector's edition packaging. As you open that up, you're going to see the game's gone because I traded it in years ago.
Yes, I never sent empty game boxes as prizes. It never happened, okay? That's a meme that was made up by my detractors.
But it does have the second bonus disc that probably has the behind-the-scenes content and stuff like that, okay? Yeah, how much would you like to have that autographed by me? Pretty cool, right? And welcome to week 2 of the Hardcore Gaming Season giveaway for 2013. I'd be more than willing to sign Deus Ex, however I looked inside of it, and it looks like it's all dark, like everything's black, so it probably makes more sense to have me maybe sign a few business cards and stuff. So, Felix, when I contact you, please respond back and let me know if you want me to include some signed business cards with this. Drawing in the week 2 announcement of the winner for the Hardcore Gaming Season giveaway of 2013.
And if it is shitty, it's your fault.
It's my fault. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this week we will be giving away Dark freaking Souls. Now keep in mind, I want to clarify, this is not the game. The game I actually traded in several months ago.
Yes, I never sent empty game boxes as prizes. It never happened, okay?
Because obviously this is a game that will live in...
Look at the disappointment on her face. Like, what a loser. This guy's giving away an empty box. Gee, I wonder why she's not around anymore. Well, it's not the game, because I traded it in months ago. Well, then buy another copy of the game, dude, and throw it in there. Like, what do you want me to say? At this point, these titles were popular. They were still everywhere. It's not like now. I could actually understand if it's 2025 and he's like, I got the collector's edition of Deus Ex. I lost the disc years ago. I traded in years ago. I don't know what happened. But if anyone does want this, then I'll give it away. I could almost understand that because at this point, it might be a collector's edition of something, but it's still just so silly and so stupid. It's like, imagine you had like a can of Coke that was like a collector's edition Coke. And you're like, yeah, I've got this collector's edition Coke from 2008 when Call of Duty came out, but I already drank it. Like, it's empty. So it's just the can. Like, the product's not actually in there. Not that anyone drink it anyway, but like, people are going to pay a lot less for just the can if they pay anything at all. So it's just kind of stupid. It's stupid. Why you're selling a used product that you got rid of and you admitted that you traded in. It's just like, does anyone want this crap? Like, how do you justify yourself here, Phil? Well, let's take a look how he justifies himself.
To do something every fall. It was called the Hardcore Gaming Season giveaway. And what it was weekly, once a week, for like 12 straight weeks, I would hold a contest where people would enter by posting up on my forums for something that I was giving away. And there was tons of different things that I gave away. Sometimes I actually gave away a game. Sometimes I gave away a collectible. Sometimes I'm trying to remember all the things that I gave away over the years, but it was a lot of different variety of things. But frequently during the fall, it was giving away games because the fall was the biggest gaming season of the year. All right. So there'd be games coming out nonstop. And So, for example, let's say I played, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a game that I played like back in the day. Dark freaking Souls. Now, keep in mind, I want to clarify, this is not the game. The game I actually traded in several months ago. I don't know, an Assassin's Creed game, let's say. So I would beat the game, and then I would say, okay, so now we're going to do a giveaway for the game. So people would post up in the thousands. Sometimes we got like 2,000 posts on my forums, people interested in winning the game. But it wasn't just the game you would win. You would get the game, the box, any packaging materials and things that came with it, because back then games actually used to come with, you know, things in there, not only the instruction book, but ads and other things. But also I would include an autograph. Some people would say, hey, can you sign the box? Can you sign the instruction manual? Can you sign the game disc itself?
Can you sign the business cards because the box is too dark?
Because that's cool to have the physical thing you use during your playthrough or whatever, okay? Now, also other times, I would buy the collector's edition of a game, okay? So I would have an art book, and I would have the soundtrack, and I would have the, you know, extra things that come with it, whatever they may be.
The game disc?
Because there's usually a lot of stuff that comes with the collector's edition. So sometimes I would give away the collector's edition materials of a game that you could not buy. You had to have bought the...
Listen to the mental gymnastics here. The materials, you mean the game box and the artwork that's in it and the soundtrack without the game. You know, the thing that people want, that they're going to actually play. You know, the whole reason to do a giveaway is because somebody wants something. Who the hell wants just the artwork? They want the game too with it, Phil.
Collector's edition to get it, and sometimes the collector's editions were sold out. So you had no way to even get that content even if you wanted it. So most of the time, all right, when I gave stuff away, it was stuff that I didn't need anymore, stuff that I had already beaten the game or whatever. There was a few exceptions to that rule.
He still does that to this day. Remember the closet clean out? He's like, does anyone want this poker chip? Just clean out the trash in his closet. Does anyone want this? I'll auction it off. $500. But nowadays he sells it. He doesn't give it away. What are we explaining here, Phil? This isn't a thesis on the game giveaways. This is a straightforward question here.
Sometimes I would want to hold on to a game because I knew that maybe a DLC would be coming out for it, and you still needed the original game discs to play the DLC. In other cases, there was like a huge deal at GameStop where if you traded in like 5 games at once, you'd get like tons of bonus money. This is a long time ago. They don't do this anymore. But there were some cases where like 3 games would come out in a week.
I feel like everything this guy says is, it was a long time ago. They don't do this anymore. To cope with the fact that it probably didn't exist. No, I know GameStop did do promotions like that. I'll give him this one. But I don't think it was like a crazy amount of money. I don't think GameStop's ever given you more than like half the price of a game. They'd sell for 60, they'd give you 30. I think if you were lucky, you could get 35 if they had the promotion going. But like if you were making machinima money around this time, you were making good money, why didn't you just use that and then do the giveaways? You would have looked way better, but we don't think ahead, right? Because in the future, now we are all looking back at this and like, what the hell is wrong with this? What is wrong with this picture?
Beat all 3 in a week, trade them in, and get almost like all my money back. I get like 60, 70% of my money back for the trade-ins because I beat them so fast and traded them in right away.
I want to see receipts, Phil.
There were some cases where I didn't have the games anymore, but I was still left with other stuff. Like, for example, I would have a steel box case for a game that I don't need anymore. I would have the art book and I would have the soundtrack and stuff like that. So there were times when I would do a giveaway and say, okay, guys, so just to be clear, this will not include the game. I have to keep the game because of DLC, or I already traded in the game, but you're getting all this other content otherwise.
There's no content. The game is the only content that you get from it. What are you talking about, dude? Sure, you can collect it and keep it aside and hope that in 20 years, the artwork and the collector's edition of this game has some value to it. What are you talking about? The only content that you would directly get from that was playing the game.
Plus, whatever you want autographed or whatever, you can have. And people would enter for this in the thousands. I'm telling you, like, there was times thousands of people would post up, and I would use a random number generator to just pick a random number. And
so thousands of people remember this. It's not just some shit that detractors made up, or all those thousands of people that entered now detractors because of this.
Select that person, and they would win it, and I would ship them all that stuff. So when you hear Phil gave away an empty game box, It's not like I would say, hey, everyone, look, here's the game I played this week, and I'm keeping the game, and I'm going to mail you the box. That's the reward for a contest. Dark freaking souls. Now, keep in mind, I want to clarify, this is not the game. The game I actually traded in several months ago.
Isn't that what happened with Deus Ex? It's just the box, guys. I traded in the game months ago. Isn't that what he said? And then the mental gymnastics here. He says, and people would say I gave away an empty game box. Let me say that again. Empty game box. Empty game box. Just because the soundtrack was in there, the artwork was in there, it's still an empty game box. So you're still wrong.
No, people outright knew what they were entering for. They knew the content that they were getting. They would want to autograph in addition. You were getting a lot of stuff if you won the contest.
So that makes it right. That makes it okay. They knew that they were getting this without the game. I'm absolved of all responsibility here because they knew they were just getting the box without the game. It's not shitty of me to not include the game in the first place when it kind of only makes sense to include the game.
It wasn't just, an empty game box and nothing else. But it's easy to say that when you just want to spin it in a very negative way.
How do you spin it in a positive way? Because you took the main product out of something and shipped them the box for it. How do you spin that in a positive light?
So I particularly, if I'm remembering correctly, the one that people bring up, I think it was a Deus Ex game where I bought the collector's edition that had all of this extra shit. I remember, I think it had the art book. I think it had a separate DVD that was like a documentary of the making of the game, something like that, and other stuff. And the person who won the contest said, hey, can you autograph this for me and this? And I always did. So I sent him a whole bunch of shit. And then my detractors were like, so he gave me, or he gave out an empty box. No, I didn't. I gave a whole bunch of content and an autograph. That was what the contest was for. And literal hundreds plus people wanted it. So people would post up in the thousands and one lucky person won it. What's wrong with that?
Oh, I'm so jealous of that one lucky person. Dang. Could have been me.
Right now, if I did a contest for my autograph, people would enter for it because I don't give autographs. It's a rare thing to get my autograph, right?
On a business card? Did that business card have your address on it that also was leaked and claimed the detractors did it and you never had, whatever. I don't care. I'm going into a completely different topic. Just ignore me.
People would probably say, oh man, I would like to get a DSP autograph, and then people would enter for it. So let me get this straight. If I did that right now, all right, would people say, oh, Phil just has a contest for a piece of paper? The thing is that everyone has different.
But you don't do giveaways anymore. You do auctions now. You sell your vest for $5,000. You sell your poker chip, R2U's poker chip for $500. You just take bidders now. Forget the loyal fans to give shit away to. You just take the highest bidder now, the people that give you the most money. So are we really going to go down this road, Phil? Because I don't think you can win this battle. No matter how many mental gymnastics you try to pull, no matter what you tell yourself in your head that you always got to feel right about this one to keep the ego strong, to confidently tell everybody that they're wrong and you never gave away empty game boxes. What are we going to do here, Phil? What's next?
Value to everything. And I did give away things that were very valuable. Do you remember at the launch of PlayStation 4, I gave away a PlayStation 4 to a fan? I did. That happened. But that's the thing. No one talks about that.
That's awesome. I will say this. I'm glad that you did that. You try to redeem yourself a little bit, but a lot of people did too. And a lot of people still do that. I go on Twitch now and it's like you can go to 50 different channels and you can go in and they got PC building companies that are like my page, subscribe here. I'm not talking about Artesian, but at one point they did it too. Where you'd go in there and you'd try to win a free PC. They would send you a free gaming PC that was thousands of dollars, Phil. So congratulations. There's a lot of people that do that to this day and age now. I'm glad you did it then. But you also did things like give away empty game boxes, So just because you did one thing that was good doesn't mean people aren't allowed to talk about the weird empty game case giveaways that you did do that was just half-assed because you didn't want to throw a $35 game in there. You're taking away half the product. You're giving away a used product that you've already done with. You're done with it. You have no more use for this case. So here, a lucky fan can have it. Awesome. That's what we're doing here.
No one wants to talk about the fact that I did the hardcore gaming season giveaway for like 6-7 straight years, and I always gave away tons of stuff that had value, games, collectibles, actual consoles, and other shit. No.
All right, that's awesome too. I'll give him credit for that. But let's talk about now how you're saying you're doing better than you've done in a long time. You're making more money than you've made in a very long time, but we're more greedy than ever. We don't give things away anymore. We don't do anything like that. We sell things. Like I said earlier, we auction things off now. It's all about me. Anyway, just wanted to cover that one. I think this is the most absolutely ridiculous, like, retconning that Phil can do. I'm not surprised in the least. I think it's disgusting, and it's a manipulation tactic for his audience to not believe the detractors, and just to kind of say that the detractors are purposely out there to defame me and hurt my business. But people are allowed to call you out for things that you did, Phil. You're a public persona on the internet. And if we just called you out and said these things without showing that clip that I just showed, it would be like, well, this guy's just saying that he's a liar. He just doesn't like Phil. You say things like this, and you kind of need to get called out for it. The same way that commentators like Voice Critical call out all these random things that happen, these people on the internet, the Pokemon stuff, like whatever it is, people have the right to call you out for it. So they're going to play a clip of you doing these egregious or these funny things that you deny, but the proof is in the pudding. We all probably know Wings. He's one of those guys that his gameplay is his ego. You know, if you offend this guy's gameplay, you say he sucks at something, I mean, prepare to get banned, but he'll fight you tooth and nail and say, hey, it's not my fault. It's the team's fault. It's the people I'm playing with. The type of guy to be like, yeah, Modern Warfare 3, I only lost 7 games the entire year. And then, you know, he'll lose 7 games in a day here. And, you know, it's the team's fault. It's just one of those things where you can't ever feel wrong. Now, I think this clip was from Call of Duty the other day. He was losing a bunch of matches. And I think he said something about losing 7 matches in a row. I think some guy in chat corrected him and said 8. And let's see what happened next.
Go ahead, Hugh. You got to donate $80. Next time you talk, you're getting banned unless it's a donation. No, I'm not going to be here in 5 minutes. Like, honestly, like, I'm so fucking distraught now. Like, I'm tilted as fuck. Like, look at this shit. Like, look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 fucking losses in a row.
If you're a normal person, video games are just something to have fun with. Sure, there can be frustrating moments in video games. There can be frustrating moments in everything you do. But really, it's how you handle it. Now, Wings, he'll drop friendships over this. He'll have people that he's played with for months on here, and he'll drop them. And he'll just be such a jerk to them. They get pissed, and they come back and they start trolling him on his own stream. They'll join his games. They'll, quote-unquote, harass him. Things that Wings thinks should be illegal for them to do. To be able to join his video game and disrupt his gameplay or play against him. But never once has it crossed my mind that I would drop a bunch of people that I have fun playing games with because they're not as good as me, or I feel they're not as good as me at the video game. So you know what? I need people that play at a higher level that are going to make me look better. Like, that's just a little ridiculous, right? But not Wings of Redemption, because video games, you have to be the best at everything. I mean, come on, this guy is forcing his wife to play Dark Souls. Like, his wife doesn't even play video games. He's like, well, once you beat Dark Souls, it's going to change your life. It's okay, pal. Sure, it changed your life, but that's because your life exists around video games. So, you know, the internet's just evolving. It's devolving. Like, this is how people live their life now. Back when the internet was a little newer, content creation was a little newer, most people just had fun. Yeah, there was always, you know, a couple people that were like this on there, but this just seems more and more common, as we call them lolcows, people that just take the internet too serious. They exist on it more than they exist in real life. I feel like Wings of Redemption is one of those guys, he just wants to feel like a bank of knowledge. You know, when somebody says something in his chat, he'll always step up and be like, oh, I know all about that, and give his perspective on things. And I don't know if this is to make himself feel smart. I mean, we all remember the 62 IQ comments and the memes back in the day about him. So maybe this is just to appear smarter to people, or to give the impression that his IQ isn't low. And who cares if it is? Whatever. I'm not here to talk about that 62 IQ stuff. But he gives so much advice to people online. And the guy can't even go out of his way to help himself. He's back on drinking Coca-Colas, like, gives up diets every other day. He can't maintain his own life. He sleeps all day. He streams in the middle of the night. Like, the guy is a mess. But everything he does is a consequence of his own action or inaction. I mean, I believe Keem said that Wings was making the best money that he's ever made on Lolcow Live, and he couldn't even contain himself on that show. Like, listen, if I was relying on something like that and I needed it to get by, what does DSP say? It's water off the back of a duck. Just let it slide, dude. Let it go. But he can't. So, you know, that guy in chat said 8, and he essentially said, listen, donate or you're going to get banned, which was the title of this video. Apparently, that's against YouTube TOS. So, that's where I'm going to leave this one, y'all. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Like, subscribe, comment. Peace.